The dust collection system is coming along great. One of the things I'd like to be able to do is reach all the corners of my workshop for easy cleanup. So, I'm going to show you how I built these two swing out arms to make that goal a reality. I had originally planned to use 1x4s for this. However, when I was shopping for lumber, these thicker boards were available for cheaper, so I got them instead. They are true 1-inch thick boards, as opposed to regular 1x that are only 3/4 inches. The first board determines how far out it'll be from the pivot point. It was quite nice using the existing dust collection with the miter saw for dust-free cuts inside the workshop. I created the main frame of the truss structure with a taper towards the end. The truss is assembled with pocket holes and glue. Inside the frame, I added diagonals to give it a little more support, but mostly to make it look more like a truss. The pocket holes got a little more ridiculous as I got closer to the taper. At the end of the truss, the ducting will elbow straight down. I used the existing downward elbow in the system to measure how far down a vertical support needed to be. It's just glued and screwed straight to the end of the truss. The first truss gets painted black. Now, since I'm going to have two of these, I followed the exact same steps to build an identical one. Same measurements, layout, pocket hole pattern. The only difference is this one got painted blue. As the arm pivots, a short section of flexible ducting will move with it. But in order for it to work better at all angles, the pivot point needs to be further out from the wall. I built two identical boxes using leftover plywood that'll push the hinges out. It's time to start throwing stuff up on the wall. I double-checked the ideal location of the arm, then screwed the box straight into the plywood. It fits nicely just above the ducting. I'm using black hinges and couldn't find black screws to go with it, so I used my new spray painting booth to make some. The hinges go on the box first, then I clamped on a support piece to help hold the arm steady. This thing just looks so good. It swings out wide over the workbench and will give me the ability to reach all the front corners of my workshop. The blue gets mounted the same way. The taper in the arm tucks in just underneath the ducting and flat ceiling. With these two in place, the existing linear system is transformed to have a very versatile reach. And it looks sick. The skeletons are ready, so let's add some guts. First thing to go on is the support bracket to hold one end of the ducting. The blast gate will support ducting on either side. It gets a funky shaped bracket that will connect it to the big arm. The bracket has bits that allow screws to drive through from both sides and holds the opening in line with the other bracket. I added a stretch of metal ducting, leaving an appropriate gap to fill with flexible ducting. On the other side of the blast gate, I worked the pipe downwards with a short, straight section and 2 elbows to make a more gradual turn. Then I transitioned to a funnel that brings the pipe diameter from 6 inches to 4 inches. That's how I'll attach a Rockler dust right hose that can be used to connect to different tools or more hose for vacuuming. The blue arm will primarily be used for dust collection with the X-Carve CNC, but it's not limited to just that. The X-Carve came with a long 2-inch diameter hose that's generally intended to hook up to a vacuum. I cut the hose much shorter and used what was needed to connect it to the 4-inch hose. In the near future, I'm going to make a custom dust boot for the X-Carve and bring the 4-inch hose all the way down to the X-Carve table. Now that the CNC is connected to the system, I could make one more blast gate needed for the other swing out arm. I followed the same process to get everything connected to the system. The CNC lives where the table saw used to connect to the workbench via a French cleat. Until I upgraded my saw to something more robust, I recreated the French cleat setup on the other end of the workbench. It'll live here semi-permanently, only being moved away when I need the space. That means I can install a semi-permanent dust collection port on it. The saw piles up dust inside its base, so I punched a hole in the bottom center of the holder and added a Rockler dust port flange underneath. From there, I connected a hose that can be connected to one of the arms when in use. On this swing out arm, I added the remaining long stretch of hose that I had left. This can easily be connected to a cleaning sweeper, the table saw, or modified to be useful in many other ways. The blast gates on the arms are pretty high up, so I added strings on either side to be able to easily open or close the gate. Like the other blast gates, these are color-coded, so at a quick glance, it's easy to tell which ones are open and which ones are closed. I tested the table saw dust collection by slicing off a chunk of an old butcher block. It worked really well, creating a downdraft inside the saw and drawing all the dust into the system instead of around the workshop. This new integrated dust collection system is working great. I've completed almost everything that I envisioned, with just a few upgrades left to do. It can really keep up with the amount of dust that I create to keep my workspace and my lungs nice and clean. Okay, that's it for now. See ya.
Oh. Thank you. Where's the baby? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Such a good boy.